coaching. I'm broadcasting from Hamburg. It's been a busy week here. I finished up the Flocka workshop, and my sister-in-law got married. We're packing up, getting ready to leave Germany, head back to Hawaii. So there's a lot going on. But my question for you, did you sail? Did you sail? Say hi in the chat. Let us know what's going on. So cool. We've got almost 7,000 members. I love it. Things are doing well. I'm going to pop into the Facebook group. Before we go too far, though, let's share that we are live. I'll get the link from YouTube. If you're joining us, let us know where you're joining from. Say hello in the chat. And did you sail this week? I know it was really good. It was good in Denmark. Where else was it good? I want to hear. All right, so I'm going to post in the group that we're live. We are live. Give people a little heads up. Here we go. 10th of August. Before we go too far into the Facebook group, I should do a little bit of housekeeping. We have, I think it's like 1 or 2 more spots in the Maui Masterclass. That's September 13th to 20th. We've got a very good group so far. And if you go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, and then you can, here, I got to close this little caption. It's in the way. Scroll down, apply here. That brings you to the calendar. All of these are done. We had great master classes, September 13th to 20th. Boom, boom, boom. Like I said, there's 1 or 2 more spots. More or less filled up, but still a couple spots, and I'm looking forward to it. September is a great time to go to Maui. A question that I get asked a lot is, when is the best time to go to Maui? I think that for people who want bigger waves, it's October, November, March, or April. People who want an introduction to Maui, it's September or May. And the way to think about Maui is that the winter is wavy and the summer is windy. The in-between times, you get both. So December, January, February, you're almost guaranteed to get big waves, but you might not get wind. June, July, August, it'll be super windy and maybe wavy, but maybe not wavy. And then the in-between times is where you get the best of both worlds. And then, of course, the closer you get to one side or the other, the more of those characteristics. So September is a great month for windsurfing on Maui because it's windy. It's still windy, but there's a little bit of swell. It's super fun. I love September windsurfing on Maui. It's not too hardcore. It's just fun, accessible windsurfing. All right, I'm going to check the chat. We got Jorg in the chat, 4 sessions, as well as a great down the line session. Sweden's longest waves, 10 turns on the wave. That's amazing, Jorg. I did not know that those waves existed in Sweden. That's amazing. We've got Rasmus as well, and said that he was sailing, but it was flat water. The West Coast was too onshore. Yeah, I was with the family in St. Peter, Ording I did the live stream there, so you guys already know that. I did the live stream from there last weekend. And there was some windsurfing, but I didn't get on the water. It was straight onshore. We got Ragnar in the chat. One thing I want to throw out to the group, Ragnar, awesome. We had an awesome time in Gran Canaria. I finished up the master class. I had a few days. Ragnar and I met up. Did some forward loop training. It was pretty fun. Dennis, good to see you in the chat. It's been a while. Good to see you. I love that video you posted from Denmark that we looked at. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, with 5 solid turns on one wave. Which reminds me, something to bring up. So there's no Denmark Masterclass planned this year, but I'm around probably till the end of this month. So we're packing up here, getting ready to go to Maui. The original plan was to leave around the 20th. We probably won't make that, but definitely out of here by September 1st. If between now and the end of the month there's a good forecast, we could do an on forecast masterclass. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. And I'll put some energy into making it happen. If there's a forecast. We got Harold in the chat. All right, let's get to the Facebook group, y'all, and see what has been posted. New post. First up, Ragnar. So, like I said, Ragnar was in Gran Canaria. He was giving it a solid effort on the forward loops. And yeah, so we've got some videos, and he did more than 60 attempts. Right on. It's so much about getting in the repetitions. And his self-assessment is more speed, more downwind, stand more upright, sail across the wind, because rather it becomes more sail forward to bow while board turns downwind. All right, let's watch the video. So are with me. There I am. Yeah, so I like that. See, look, here's one of my demonstrations. And this is to get the feeling. And there, look, great job, Ragnar. So some of this stuff I've already seen. Let's skip ahead. Skip ahead here. It's cool. Yeah, really going for it. Delaying a bit too much there, but really going for it. Throwing it across, pulling in. Ragnar, man, you've made so much progress. I love seeing these loops. Throwing the sail across, sheeting in, going off the wave. Bam, you're doing it. Like, this is such a huge, huge, huge change to what it was like a year ago. Like, these are really solid rotation attempts. That one, you're still leaning back too much. So here you've got that hard lean back, which makes it very difficult to rotate. But you're getting the feeling. I think the main thing to work on, I know you wrote a lot on the list. The main thing is not leaning back so much and going more, I think going more downwind. But you actually don't have to. You could take off on this angle, and if you don't lean back, so you're still leaning back a lot. And we really want to be upright. So the main thing is just standing upright, because you're getting the sail across, you're sheeting in, pulling in. Yeah, sure, you could pull in harder, you could look back more. You're not really looking back. All of those things, but I don't know how much it makes sense to focus on those while you're still leaning back so hard, because we don't want to be leaning back so much. I really like this one. That's a very nice rotation. But hey, man, way to go. You had the goal. You said, I'm going to go to Gran Canaria. I'm going to make progress on my forwards. And you did it. Look at your effort, 60 attempts. And there's a huge difference. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but I can. Yeah, huge, huge, huge. And these are controlled, safe forward loop attempts, which the ones that we were doing last year in Denmark weren't always. And so this is awesome. You've got to a point where you've got the technique more or less down. Yeah, there's more fine tuning to do. Like Andre says, standing more upright is going to be huge. But it's so good, because like with this kind of rotation, you can do that at home. You can get in the reps. You can make progress. So Andre makes a good point. I just want to say it is that you're pushing to jump higher and leaning back, but you want to jump from the legs, not with the sail, and that allows you to go up without leaning back. So you're not using the sail like a wing. All right, Ragnar, awesome. All right, Thomas with his new boards, love it. Feel on the water as good as they look. Jorge is asking how to maximize speed on the wave. Side shore, but different size waves. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. And this kind of question has a million answers. I could write a book about maximizing speed on the wave. And so I'll mention a few things here. But if you have video or photos, then this will be a lot easier to answer because, like I said, there is a book to write about maximizing speed on the wave. And I'll say a few things. I'm going to get to the chat. We got Dom Dom and Mark, one session. Kevin said, great week in Ireland, storm chasing in Mayo at the start of the week and ending up in Donegal for the return of the Maharati Classic. Nice. That's cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thomas, also onshore mayhem in the fjord with some nice summer storms. All right, so how to keep speed, maximize speed on the wave. So the biggest thing is staying high on the wave. So the mistake that most people make is they go too far down the wave. In fact, you want to be on the top 25% of the wave or even higher. You want to be really as high as you can be on the wave without risking falling out the back. And that's where you're going to have the most potential energy and the most ability to generate speed. The other thing that you want to train yourself to be able to do is sailing along the top of the wave to get speed before dropping in. In different conditions, you don't have to do this. If the wind is more offshore, if the waves have more power, it's not as necessary to get speed. But if we're talking about getting maximum speed, you want to be flying along the top of the wave, getting that speed, and then dropping down and doing your bottom turn. So you don't want to be doing the bottom turn uh, just starting upwind, right? You want to be going downwind, getting speed, and then dropping in. And again, this is for side shore. Onshore is different. Side shore and side off, though, this is very much the case. As well, you want to make sure you've got the right sail size. If your sail's too small, if your board's too small, you're not going to be picking up the speed as well. You want to make sure you're setting up on a part of the wave that has power, setting up on a power section. Those are the main things that come to mind. But like I said, I could write a book on this. And so if you have video, post it. But I would love, we've got some legends in the chat from Jorg, Rasmus, Ragnar, Dennis, Harold, Dom, Mark, Kevin, Thomas. You guys all know a lot about getting speed on the wave. So I would love to hear from you. If you have a trick or something that works for you for getting maximum speed in sideshore conditions, let us know what it is. Like I just mentioned, those things, staying high on the wave, making sure you've got the right gear, starting your wave right by going on the down the line, top of the wave line to get speed before dropping in. But if you guys have other tips or tricks, put them in the chat for Jorge. In the last workshop for the FLACA course, the group was talking about how beneficial the peer instruction was, the peer learning. And that's something that this community offers almost 7,000 fold. We've got almost 7,000 people in the community. And yes, I have knowledge to drop, but there's so much to be gained by the peer community. And it's one reason why the masterclasses, the in-person masterclasses are so great, is that people learn from each other. I love it. I love it. I love seeing it. And that cohort aspect is really important. Thomas, with a great point, pumping. Yes, pumping the sail, pumping the fins. Yes, pumping. Yes, pumping. This is 100% pumping. I can't believe I didn't mention this as the first thing to say. Well, I think the first thing to say is saying high on the wave. But after that, it is pumping. You can pump the fins, you can pump the sail, get your speed up. And practice pumping. You can practice pumping on the wave. Pumping on the wave is a little bit different than pumping on flat water. We got Suna in the chat in Denmark, and he had 2 good days north of Copenhagen. Nice. Some steep waves. Rasmus says to get speed, it helps to push with the legs like you do in surfing or in the transition skateboarding. Yes, I agree, but it's also a little bit more technical. We got Tomash as well chiming in. He says, maximizing speed is not itself the goal. Maintaining speed is the tricky part. But the more speed you have, the faster you'll be going, even if you lose a little bit. Thomas is also saying light boards help because they stay on top of the water. Yanti says, I know a lot of top wave sailors are very good surfers, but are there any standouts at either end of the spectrum, i.e., top sailors who don't surf or wave sailors who are exceptional surfers? I think that both disciplines really benefit each other, and I'm really trying to get back into doing some surfing despite the crowds, which has stopped my enthusiasm for the past years. Yeah, I think there are some of the top guys that don't surf. Uh, I love surfing, but I have to say I'm more of an average surfer. No one's going to pay me to surf. But I grew up surfing. I've surfed since I was a little kid. It's part of my DNA. So I definitely love surfing. Who I'm impressed, constantly impressed with Kai Lenny's surfing. He trains a lot with the surfing, and I think for high performance surfing, he's amazing. Levi toe surfing is pretty spectacular. Um, which toe surfing is a different thing than normal surfing, but he does some amazing stuff toe surfing. Some of the guys, and obviously there's more crossover windsurfing to toe surfing because they've got straps, all that stuff. But a lot of these guys, Polacow, were pretty spectacular toe surfers in addition to windsurfers. I'm trying to think. I know there are some of the top guys that don't surf that much. I have no idea how much Philip surfs. I haven't seen him out in the water. Um, yeah, but there's a lot. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good surfers in the top windsurf rankings. I know Robbie Swift spends a lot of time working on his surfing, going on surf trips. Uh, Ross Williams is a good surfer, good windsurfer too. I think he's kind of underrated in the windsurfing. Um, trying to think. I'm trying to think who's really stand out. I would say for high performance stuff, Kai Lenny definitely stands out. And then who doesn't surf? I think a lot of the guys surf. Camille, T-Toon. I don't know how much Levi's surfing these days. Yeah, Camille surfs a lot. Dom Dom mentions Camille. He surfs a lot in Guadeloupe. Um, Ragnar says this is about getting speed, maximizing speed. Pay attention to the board angle. Yeah, that's also important. Yeah, so surfing definitely helps your windsurfing. If you don't have much access to good surfing conditions, then stand up can be also good. It teaches you about placement, timing, where to be on the wave, all that good stuff. Um, so yeah, I love surfing. Like I said, no one's paying me to surf. I'm not entering surfing competitions. Um, trying to think if there's any other real standouts. A lot of guys are good at like the surf sup stuff, like Bernd Roediger. It's really good at surf sup. Moritz Malk as well. Yeah. Alex is saying that for the speed on the wave, leaning forward like a surfer and positioning on the wave helps. Yeah, agreed. All right, Jay says that he's a kayaker, moved to a place with no river nearby and looking around on Facebook Marketplace. Found a windsurfer setup, looking to pick it up, and watching endless videos. Yeah, I definitely recommend um, getting a lesson or getting maybe not like a lesson from a windsurfing school. Maybe there's someone that can teach you, give you a first time. I think windsurfing is pretty hard if you just have the stuff and show up on the beach, because even just trying to rig it, if you don't know what you're doing, is hard. So I recommend going with someone. Um, all right, so I'm just typing my answer there. I don't know. Can you guys see while I type? You can't even see while I type. All right, I got to move this up. Hold on. Sorry, I was typing and not talking. I thought, well, at least you guys can see what I'm typing. All right. So there's what I'm typing. So I'm saying I recommend going with a buddy or an instructor. Just rigging the gear can be a challenge at first, and if you get it wrong, can ruin your experience. Have fun, enjoy the challenge. Cool. And let us know how it goes. Yeah, definitely hard sport to learn as an adult. All right, next up, we've got some loops from Dennis. Dennis has been on the loop journey. His loops have improved a lot since the first posts and masterclasses. So he says he's stuck between loops 1 and 2, so placing the rig slightly forward to stay more upright, steering the board more downwind, but then loses control when he hits the water. 3 or 4, he's more passive and parachuting at the end, and plenty of height, sails away, but it's a bit frustrating. All right, so let's watch these videos and see if we can help Dennis keep progressing on his loop journey, which is already going very well. Here, let's move this around so you guys can see it a bit better. Like that, boom. Okay, so let's watch the first one. Nice positioning, boom, hard landing. All right, number 2, throwing it around, boom, pretty hard landing. All right, number 3, still a solid loop, man. Still a solid loop. Number 4, boom. Okay, so there's a few things we can talk about. First is more conceptual, and it can help you find the right body placement in the loop. And it's that you want your head and your body mass to be at the clue of the sail from the beginning to the end. At the very end, not as much, but through the rotation anyway. When you're landing, then you bring everything over. But through the rotation, you want to be at the clue of the sail. And so that means in this beginning part, you can push the sail even more forward so that then the clue is at your body. And then pull in just like you're doing. You can look farther back. I think looking with the head is also going to make a big difference. So the two things that I would say is really thinking about being at the clue of the sail will help with the rotation. The second is looking. And so looking does 2 things or 3 things. It does a lot of things. Looking is super important in the forward loop. And so the first thing that it will do is help make your rotation more horizontal. Now, what happens with the more horizontal rotation? It means that when you're landing, instead of slamming down on the water, you're traveling horizontally across the surface so you can land planing. You can land fully on the board and still have a soft landing. So the more horizontal you go, the softer your landing can be, even if you over-rotate. So with a horizontal forward, if you over-rotate, if you just think about the physics of it, I'm trying to find a little example here. I've got a hard drive. So if you're rotating like this, and then you're landing on the board, you have a tiny little window of where you can land nicely. Like this is too flat. You want to land a little bit on the tail. Now, if you're rotating horizontally, you can land here, 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 here. There's a world available to you for landing. So looking back with the head and also keeping your body at the clue, those two things will help keep the rotation more horizontal. You don't even have to sheet in that much. So the windier it is, in a way, the more you have to sheet in to control everything. But if you get the rig forward so that your body's at the clue and you're twisting your body, the rig will create lift, and you still need to sheet in, but you don't need to sheet in as like monstrously hard as you think you need to, because that will kill the wind in the sail. But looking with the head helps with that horizontal rotation. The second thing that looking with the head does, and this is also so important, is you can see where you're going. So right now, you're traveling behind this way, but you're looking this way. And so you're not looking where you're going. And so that means that you, at this point, because you're looking up at the sky, don't know how close the water is. And so you can't reflexively react to the landing. So the landing just happens. You start to see it and then you react. If you're looking, you can see the water, and already at this point, you know that the water is coming, and you can start getting yourself ready for the landing. And so then even if you're landing hard like this, it's not so jolting because you know that it's coming. So you know that it's there. So then it's not just like you're solid and then hitting it. You can start preparing so that your body is in a position to absorb the impact, and so it will actually feel softer. So looking back with the head is going to help tremendously because one, it's going to move the rotation to be more horizontal. Two, it is going to make it so that you can see your landing. Now, Dom is in the chat and he's saying he's totally convinced that it's important, but it's very hard for him to remember. Yes, yes. And I don't know why it is so difficult to remember, but it is. And I think if you're going to work on looking back with the head, it's got to be the only thing that you're thinking about because it is such a big part of the loop and is so difficult to actually do. Maybe it helps if you're thinking about twisting, somersaulting. Maybe it helps if you think about in that twist having your upper body also twisting. So your shoulder that's forward is pushing forward, your shoulder that's back is pulling back, and you're looking over with the head, trying to go sideways. That's going to help a lot. And the other big concept that I want to throw at you, Dennis, is being at the clue of the sail. Being at the clue of the sail. And then you're going to have more control. The rotation is going to be more horizontal. And you don't have to sheet in super hard. You've got really nice forwards. Now it's about working on the technique. And so sometimes sheeting in hard is something that is important to do because it's masking technique that isn't great. And yeah, we're fine tuning your technique, but your technique is pretty good. You're doing good forwards. So at this point, it's not about just getting it done. It's about making it nice. So being at the clue of the sail and then looking back with the head. Something that I found helped me look back was looking back as I was going off the ramp. And then there was no forgetting it. Something you could do is if you're sailing with a buddy, have them sail behind you, and then you look back at that buddy as you're going off the ramp or as you're in the air going for the rotation. The thing is, you want to keep looking back through the rotation, so it's not just about just looking at them, like glancing and then looking forward again, because it's really about looking where you're going. Interesting tip from Thomas to say train looking on a rotating chair. I like this. I use this for the back loop training. I think it's great training for the forwards too. This was something we did for the back loops and yeah, for the forwards as well. Why not? All right, let's keep moving here. And wow, we're caught up. Wild. That went by quicker than I thought. So for the admin stuff, if you want to join Maui, there still are, I think it's 1 or 2 spots left. I have to do a head count. I know there's at least 1 spot, probably 2 spots left. It's September 13th to 20th. I love September on Maui for windsurfing, and it's going to be a really good masterclass. The group is solid. I've met some of the people before, worked with them on different masterclasses before. Yeah, it's a good group. It's a good group. So if you're interested in that, go to windsurfingmasterclass.com and fill out the application. Otherwise, forward loop course that was supposed to be done after I came back from Gran Canaria, and I haven't done it. The preparation for my sister-in-law's wedding actually ate up all of my work hours since I've been back from Gran Canaria. So I've had, that's not true. I've done a little bit, but all of my work hours that were originally slotted for the TAC course. But that's over now. And the plan is to finish that this week. So with that, I'm going to say good night, good day, and I hope it's windy this week. I'll see you next week, Sunday. I'm in Germany till the end of the month, and so if you're in Denmark or somewhere, maybe we'll see each other on the water if there's a good forecast. Maybe we can do a little impromptu on the forecast masterclass. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like. I have to think about it. If you are interested, let me know, and then I have a good idea if there's a group that could make that happen, and whether it's worth putting some energy into organizing it. All right, everyone, I'm going to sign off and get to bed. I hope you all have a